Good morning, Twitter. This is Micah Yo, and today I want to detail my XRF short squeeze trade that I executed this morning on 12/26/2019. First of all, I hope everyone had a very Merry Christmas with their families. I hope it was filled with lots of love and joy. I myself am struggling to get focused here after a day of eating everything in sight and drinking everything in sight. But I still managed to make some good trades today. I did miss some things, and I'll talk about everything in between. If you're a Mad As Money member, you know that I walked you guys through this trade live on XRF. I initially saw this when it was at $4, and I kind of kept it on watch from that point moving forward because I saw the potential. If you watched my last recap, I referenced the word potential quite a bit as I favor this word when looking at charts having potential, engaging the potential versus having expectations. So I saw that this chart had a lot of potential, and I was pretty interested in it once I saw this $4 area be tested so many times. So first of all, I want to talk about kind of my thought process going into this trade, why I thought it had such good potential, and why I ultimately longed it and banked on the short squeeze. My chart's posted inside of the Mad As Money Room for those of you who are looking for a chart. I'll also post it on Twitter so you guys can reference it. But I want to talk about the float on this. Under 5 million float, so definitely a low float. Um, as we get closer and closer to like the 3 millions and things of that nature, those are just ridiculous. Um, so it wasn't quite as dangerous as that, but 5 million by any stretch of the imagination is a low float, and it should be respected, in my opinion. So the first thing I want to talk about is in the morning when when this ran and flushed at the VWAP. So as we can see here, if you watch my last video, basically I like to reference areas where I think that buyers or sellers are utilizing on their respective bias and their game plan. And I felt that XRF was just too easy. And I also want to couple that with the volume, and it did have two float rotations that I can see. I felt like XRF was um, basically a prime candidate for a short squeeze play because it uh, it never trapped. As you guys know, I like to use the first trap. That's something that I often reference. And let's talk about that. So XRF opens, takes quite a bit to get some volume, then it finally does, and it tops out at 6. Okay. After this, it flushes below the VWAP, and if you guys take a look at a lot of these short squeezes, VWAP is a very great place for them to bait and actually get liquidity for the move higher. This didn't happen. So from a short seller's perspective, I'm thinking the top is 6. It flushes below the VWAP. That's the first sign of weakness. And then it puts in a lower high at 550. Okay, so let's mark that 550 area. Now, these are reference points for a short seller for sure. I'm going to make this one a different color. I'm just going to make this one blue. So the high is 6. I'm going to annotate that. I'm going to make that green, just nice and easy. I think I have too much green on my chart, but that's okay. The high is 6, flushed below the VWAP here, my gold dotted line, and then we put in a lower high at 550, flushed again. Now I want to talk about where it flushed. So it flushed right at this 487, 488, 489 level. Okay, that's something that I'm looking for. And I'm going to reference that later, but this is really one of my 161 extensions is that level because I want to keep an eye on it. So this purple line is that 480 line level, which we know is where the VWAP was flushed. I'll talk about why that's important later. But let's walk through this trade. So um, we can see that the stock faded off and then kind of it touched 4, came for another lower high, it took out that swing low here, and we have a new low, and then something that's very interesting here that I see on a lot of these charts that I also referenced in my on my Yayo video. So if you haven't seen the Yayo video, go check it out. It was posted last week. When you talk about dissecting the chart and you go through the psychology of these moves, you often want to find the most prominent pain points on these charts. So when I talk about pain points, I'm talking about belief building or lack thereof. One of the things that really stands out to me from a belief building to the short side is to take out that opening low. Okay, that's something that I'm sure everyone as a short seller is looking for, and I'm sure that longs are looking for that too. If you break that opening low, they're definitely not happy being a long. Okay, they're definitely not happy with that. So what we often see is price breaking below that opening low, which is really just confirmation to shorts that this thing is going lower. So if they're already in at the VWAP, let's say 489, um, a lot of people are looking to add on weakness into the low of the day, and that's also a stop loss area for the flip side, which is long traders. Long traders are thinking, okay, if this breaks into new lows, I'm out. So it's definitely a trap area for shorts, I believe, and I'm going to tell you why and basically explain why, which is really just breaking that low is huge belief building that the stock is very weak and everyone slams it or adds if they've already been into it. And that creates the most important pain point for me on this chart. Okay, so if we were to pause time right here at 10:23 and we were to talk about um, the game plan for a short seller in this stock, which is what I'm really going to do for you guys so that I can help walk you through the short squeeze trade. So we break the lows, we've broken VWAP, we've put in a few different lower highs, and this thing looks like it's just going to roll over, right? Well, that's exactly what they want it to look like. And as you can see, after it broke that opening low by 4 cents, 3 or 4 cents, looks like, the stock starts to grind. Okay. Now at this point, longs are likely out, and shorts are in definitely either from 550 area, which was lower high using high of day as a risk, or slamming it at the VWAP using 550 and 6 as a risk, or any number of these swing lows being taken out, or the initial low of day being taken out. So longs are definitely not happy. Shorts are very happy at this point, okay? Up until this point, shorts are very happy because now you start to grind, and that's where we get into the short squeeze trade. But to walk you through what I'm looking for, and I do this on every single chart, I'm looking to analyze pain points and reference areas on the stock. So from a short seller's perspective, the low of days are taken out. Why is it grinding? This should really be dying. So they start to say, okay, what's my exit plan? Where am I in? What's my exit plan? What's my game plan for this move? Should it start spiking, right? So let's talk about that. We see, I also want to talk about float rotation. So we do have 2 float rotations so far that I can see. But really it comes down to this. You can ignore these bands here. I want you guys to focus on the VWAP for a second, okay? So I also want you guys to focus on this $4 area because I knew that after seeing this $4 area be held for so long that something really wasn't right here. And if you were a short seller, always try and put your mind into retail short seller mindset or retail long mindset. And the majority of aggressive or inexperienced retail, um, that's something that I often like to do. I don't claim to be the best trader around, but I do see a lot of mistakes that are very common mistakes that retail makes day in and day out, and I try and capitalize on that. And that's exactly what the short squeeze trade is really just capitalizing on traders' miscalculation, and we're going to talk about that. So this $4 area was very important to me. We went sideways here for a long time. We went sideways for an hour. And I said, okay, that's very important. So if $4 is reclaimed, most shorts are thinking, okay, I really have to think about my exit plan here. Now we have a few areas that we can reference for an exit plan. I'm going to get rid of this green line now, but keep $4 in mind. So we come up to the VWAP, okay? People who are short the new low of day, they might have gotten out on the breach of this $4 area, or they might be using this swing high. This swing high also happens to be the VWAP, okay? I'm going to show you right here. Here's the VWAP, here's the swing high. It's basically 436, 437 level. So this area is important for a few reasons, okay? This is a swing high. We know that after this area, price really broke down, and that's an important level. Now also, traders love to reference the VWAP. So if they're short, they're like, okay, if this reclaims the VWAP, I got to get out, or at least I have to take half off, or at the very least, they're very unhappy and they're looking to get out higher. So that's what I was thinking. I said, okay, this has gotten back to the VWAP. I know that shorts are going to panic if this can reclaim the VWAP. And I see that we've already taken out so much. We've already trapped, right, with the new low of day. I thought that that was very important. I see that the volume is good. I see that it hung around 4 for an hour, really didn't fade off. And that was my belief building that shorts are in trouble here. So I saw the first reject of VWAP. I took a position in 428, I believe. I saw the second test of VWAP and I saw that fade off again, and I added to my position. Now this green line here is something that I want to reference because after that VWAP pull, that swing low, that mini swing low was 420. After we tested the VWAP again and we tested that 420 again successfully, that was even more belief building for longs that this is going to blast off. And that's even worse for short sellers because they're saying, well, it's holding. So, of course, I want to see a breach of the VWAP and a successful hold. And I know that the next area in line for resistance is 450, which is my gold dotted line. Price hit 448. I was very patient with this. I talked about this. I said I'm going to let it breathe. I'm going to give it some room. Let it do what it's got to do, win or lose. That's just something I'm going to be very patient on this. And I basically said that, shorts are really going to panic should 450 be breached because I didn't see the panic at VWAP. So I said, okay, well, if VWAP is reclaimed and then 450 is breached, we're going to see some big short covering panic. And that's exactly what we saw. 450 area was breached, and then it looked like it was stalling out for quite a bit here. I didn't like it, so I took it off. I sold it up here. Then we saw the successful test of previous resistance, which now becomes support, right? And we saw two tests of the 450, and then we blasted off into another high, which was great. It's unfortunate I didn't ride it that long, but of course, we came down again, which was not a good sign for longs. That we tested this again after not getting to new highs. But remember, I referenced that 489 area, which is the purple line. Look at where price stopped. Look at where people slammed the VWAP and look at where price stopped. So I thought that that was very interesting. And I always look at where they slam the VWAP to reference the strength or weakness on the chart. But overall, great trade. I'm happy with it. Still have to work on holding winners longer, but I'll keep taking these high probability trades over and over on the VP and then inside of Fibonacci and the volume analysis. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this little snippet on my live trade recap on XRF. I'm going to post the chart on Twitter, and I hope everyone is recovering nicely after hopefully a very Merry Christmas. And wish you guys all the best, and I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.